worry about as much of those practice problems. Literally, those practice problems I had on the board for yesterday. If you got questions about it, come see me if you want to, like Hunter has. If not, I'll be posting the video from second period yesterday online, so you can watch those and get the explanation behind how we got the answers for those. Also, along with that, we need to make sure and not ruin the video today, because second period ruined the video today.
Get ready for pictures.
What?
Oh, you didn't have permission.
I don't want to.
Tomorrow.
I remember that.
Yeah, second period ruined it.
I got some birth people in second period. It's kind of sad.
I'm guessing they threatened to kill the same girl as always. I'm shocked.
Anybody have Miss Stephanie yet?
Yeah.
What do you know?
It's like this autocorrect phone.
Miss Steffi's
crap.
here though.
Oh,
Miss Steffi left.
She's not.
She's back.
She left.
Mr. Hall, you know they're putting up the TV for you?
Why are they putting it up for me?
For the game.
Oh yeah, they're putting it up for that.
Oxyanion.
I wasn't going to put it up. Oxyanion Nomenclature.
I'm guessing who knows?
I get live yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is literally the background basis definition of what you guys have already seen a little bit of before, but now it's going to take us from the 25 that you know and widen our horizon. Yeah.
Me and Hannah have to go to the swim team's got to take pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Michael
Yeah,
Yeah,
I went back here and looked one day. I was like, man, I bet you there's some nice bait fish back here. Somebody would just go back here and catch that.
Nobody ever told that.
Alright, so on this oxyanion nomenclature is really talking about the polyatoms. Now within this, it's important for us to remember the polyatoms, because it's the basis of how we're going to build stuff from here. Okay? So we're going to build a box, and we're going to fill stuff within this box.
How much of this of the paper do you think it would take?
And I mean, just like 3 lines in a box. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to be shocked if you need more than that. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to give in this first column is like the breakdown of how we're finding out the name for that oxyanion. On next to it is literally giving you the format of what to follow with. Next to it, we're going to do an example name, and then over here, we will do the example chemical formula, which is important because you're going to have to go from both of those. This is where nomenclature gets real.
I meant to read this box.
This is where life's going to get complicated in here.
Really, Mr. Hall? I have to learn about this.
Since we've brought the white elephant out there, just thrown it out there, let's discuss this.
Not white.
Everybody has an answer here. Everybody. Literally.
There is 2 grades in language right now. The first one is 2 points to prove that the grades do start over, like I said. And secondly, your quiz grade. And quiz grades left a lot to be desired. There was not a single A between the 2 classes.
You want to know why? Lewis structures.
Ding, ding, ding.
Once you learn it, don't forget it.
That is not fair game.
Oh, it is fair game. You need to be able to do Lewis structures whenever you get to college, because they're going to expect you to be able to do Lewis structures. So within this,
What's that?
What's these?
understand, there's not a single A in chemistry at Westside High School right now. Now, huh? Well, this is what we're going to do. First, you got a lab on Friday, so you can bring it up then. You're going to have at least 2 practice sheets on all the nomenclature rules because your next quiz, I'm not holding back anything. I'm throwing everything I got at you, every trick.
Don't do it, dude.
I held back on that last quiz. I'm not holding back. Yes, I did. I absolutely held back.
You held back. You think you held back.
No, I held back because I know the tricks that I could do.
Exactly. You don't know those tricks.
We don't.
You do know the tricks.
You do realize that once you tell me something, it flies over my head, right?
Which is why you're supposed to spend quality time. It's like, okay, this is how it is. Whenever you sign up for chemistry, you decided that you are, if you're going to date chemistry,
We're not.
or
We're just messing around.
have this real close, tight-knit relationship with chemistry.
No, we don't like her. There's always someone on the side. Know that, Mr. Hall.
We're on a break right now.
Yeah.
So, this is all on you, but you've got to get these nomenclature rules down. If you don't get the naming rules down, you're going to struggle throughout the rest of the semester.
Well, there goes my semester, boys, right there.
So, in this, the first thing is, every one of these has a root with it. So, every one of these has the base root within it. So, when I'm saying root, I'm saying like chlorate, chloride, perchlorate, hypochlorite. What's the same in every one of those? The chlor. Chlor is the root. We'll use that as our example.
I'm still trying to draw my box.
Don't gotta be perfect.
Can we just argue?
So this is the thing. Whenever you're dealing with this oxyanion nomenclature, these are the polyatomics involving oxygen. So within this, you're going to have a bunch of different little rules and stuff that you face and go through with. So, we're going to start off with the root. This is the one that is like the granddaddy essential of them all. Okay, this is the one that is crucial. Memorize it. And before anybody looks at me and says, Mr. Hall, you're a jerk. You're the devil. You're evil. You should have gave us this whenever we were taking our quiz on the polyatomics. If I would have gave you this for your quiz on the polyatomics, it would have opened up a whole world of questions for me to ask you, and I promise you, you would not want it. Just give me a little bit of time today in class, you're going to find out why. So the first thing what we got is the root ion. That is the one that is the most common. So the root ion, the most common. Here's how you will always know the root ion. It has the root, and at the end it's 8. So root 8. And it's literally all you add to it. So this chlor is the root. But then you have chlorate. You should hopefully have memorized what chlorate is. ClO3 negative. Yet again, that is not an I, that is an L. I can't stress that enough. If I'm wanting to throw I in here, you will see this. This is carbon monoiodide. This is chlorine. Big difference. On the quiz, whenever I was grading them, people still wanted to grab that and use I.
Did you grade any hundreds that were on the back of it? Like everybody got the whole back right?
Yeah, there were some people got back right.
I think that's, you should just put that in.
No.
I did good on the back, but the front was a crash and burn right there.
Look at the opposite of that.
There were some people that when you seen the front, it was,
Mine just went straight down.
and it's like you're just diving, and then I know where it's like, you're like, pull up, ah! And you get to the back and you're starting to come up now, and you're like, we're gonna make it! And then we're gonna get to the one thing, oh, I so forgot, I meant to tell you guys. Okay, what do you have this Friday?
Lab.
A lab.
Yay!
Okay, what do you have next Friday?
Another lab!
No. No.
Next time!
There is not a quiz on next Friday because of what the day is. It would be cruel and heartless of a man of my stature to look and say, we are not giving you a quiz on Valentine's Day.
Plus the next day your science fair kids have to
We'd
go.
only be in here like 10 minutes, wouldn't we?
Ridiculous.
So you get it to us on Thursday.
So I'm going to give it to you Thursday.
Mr. Hall, you gotta quit with this garbage.
So y'all are a lot smarter than second period. As soon as I said no quiz on Friday the 14th, they're like, woo! Yeah!
I think it's surgery Thursday.
Yeah, so in honor of Amy's surgery, we ain't doing a quiz. That's just how
Can y'all just celebrate?
I have one on Monday. I have surgery.
If I did that, I would lose my job.
I'm a little scared.
Absolutely. Me and Mary will be praying for you.
Thank you.
That's
You're welcome.
30. We need to take
You
a
just
whole
can't
class
do it in
period
school.
just to pray and seek the face of God for Amy.
What?
So if I vote, we take a whole class period where we pray and seek the face of God for Amy. No quiz.
Alright, so from here, we're going to move around. Now, everything within this is based on the oxygen within this. So, you go to the top. This is when you got one more than root. So, in this, you got that one more than the root, and this is the thing. You'll keep the ending the same. The 8 stays. But to change it, you add a prefix. Per. Perute. If y'all want to sound fancy, go to Miss Steffi and say, I'm feeling perute today. And then whenever she asks what it is, you mention it. What?
Would you double your R's?
It'll work out.
You're so good.
Because there's not a polyatomic that starts with a.
Oh, okay. That's just your
But she said one flashcard. She didn't say what size the flashcard could be. So maybe one flashcard could be the whole room, like big flashcard.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Okay, listen, this is the thing. I know you all are mad at me because it's going to be
Cut us some slack.
not this Thursday, but next Thursday you're going to be having another quiz. But this is the thing that I need you to get. All of this that we've covered, you want me to quiz you on this now. Because if I don't quiz you on this now,
We'll forget.
and we keep going through stuff, and I keep teaching you more,
What?
and I build off top of it, the quiz just keeps getting harder and harder and harder.
There's a solution to that though. Don't take it off.
We don't take it and we say we did and everybody gets A's. End of story. See, everybody lives with a happy ending. We all got running off into the sunset.
I would rather you struggle through my chemistry class, get a C, go to college, and breeze and get an A.
I don't think I would agree.
So on this, it's per
Oh, what's that?
chlorate. So perchlorate.
I have a C in here and a G in college.
Now you should remember this one. Perchlorate, ClO, one more than the root, 4. Negative.
I don't understand.
What's happening? Because it's one more than the root.
Exactly. There's one more oxygen than the root. These are all based off the oxygen.
No, Mr. Hall, I'm just gonna be honest here. I barely know how to spell my name, nevertheless, something like this. That's just how it is.
You get it. Don't worry about it.
No.
Everything's gonna be all right.
You've done left me back in the dust.
All right. So from here we have one less. I'll put O here to help you guys. Oxygen than root.
Okay, so it will be 3.
One let 2 because it's less than the root. Now this is the thing. The ending changes. Ite is the ending. So root-ite. So chlorite.
That song.
So chlorite is ClO2 negative.
I got that right.
I hate that song.
Now, following the same pattern, down here, the ending is going to be the same. But we're going to add a prefix.
Smart.
So in this will be 2 less. Oxygen than the root. That's the key. Remember, all these are based off the root. So, whenever you do that, it's hypo-rootite. Hypo-rootite. So, hypochlorite, which is ClO negative. Nope.
My grade went hopping out the door. That's what I did.
This is what happens is we wait to the second semester to get to this. This is whenever we find out who's really deserving of the chemistry award, ladies and gentlemen. There is a chemistry award.
It's definitely gonna be mine. He always gonna say
Yeah.
that.
Straight A student, baby. Let's go.
So, sample name. No, nobody has an A right now.
What's the highest grade? B? You have an A? How?
Not right now, but.
Oh, I was like, dude, what'd you make on that test?
An example. Formula. Alright, so here's the thing. We want to start practicing this, and then we're going to do the other thing.
No. No, sir. You know, Mr. Howell,
That's
you
pretty
said
easy.
in
I
the
spelled
beginning.
that really well. Pretty spelled out.
Mr. Howell, you remember when you told us in the beginning that this was like taking the wheels off of our training wheels off our bike? Yeah, I've done skinned my knee and broke my arm and lost my helmet. I'm done. I'm gonna fucking just go lay in the ditch and wait for the light to shine on me, because
Alright, here we go.
Hey, I don't have my phone. I lost mine. I never had
you got 2 wheels sitting there.
He bullied me and let's go. He
Oh yeah, not only do I have surgery next week, but
but
Tasha has surgery later.
me too.
Hey, let's all go to the hospital and visit them. No kids, road trip.
PO33 negative. We're going to name it.
What would you do if we all went
I think it'd be great.
Everybody's
to
then he goes to your mom's house, what's going on when we come back.
I'll tell you what. Everybody can go visit Emmy. I'll take the day. I'll bring the calculators and the quizzes up there.
We'll lock the door.
We can all
Call
quiz
security.
Yeah, we can all quiz
Okay.
together.
I'm
You
good
should
with
say
that.
away from my surgery.
We should do the quiz on
Yeah, nah, that ain't happening.
We'll call security.
I'm
say,
checking
"You
everyone's
see the man
level. Alright, PO33 minus. So in this is the key. And this is literally how I always work these. I look at the root.
Okay.
This is not the root. Because PO4 3 negative is the root, because that
It's the highest you can go.
is phosphate. It's not the highest. So I make the comparison between the two. I have 4 oxygens in phosphate. I have 3 oxygens in this one. So it's 1 less. What's the name?
Phosphite.
Phosphite.
Bingo. Let's go. I took a wild guess on that one.
Spelled out.
As I told you, what you say goes plumb over my head. It takes me like a week or two to understand what's going on.
Maybe you were the one that said 80.
No, it was actually Christy.
It was she's 6 always right.
All right.
Oh, Buck, you have to have a head.
We're going to have a lot of fun right here, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare yourself. SO5 to a negative.
It is, you didn't get a
I know I didn't, which is why I said don't get mad when I give you this, because I've now opened the world up. You now can name that.
Sulfate.
But how am I supposed to be able to do that, Mr. Hall?
Yeah, exactly. It's not on our
25.
Sulfate.
You had to memorize.
I did not know.
All of the roots were on here.
That's why I got a negative 3.
This serves a purpose. This is why I said, learn these 25. Many of you ignored my warning. Now you're seeing why it's going to pay to memorize these. Because if you have not memorized these, guess what you get to do? Memorize these. Because if you don't memorize, you ain't going to do good on this. I know it's not on there.
Sulfate. Sulfate.
No.
Thank you.
The root ion, sulfate, is SO4, 2 negative. SO4, 2 negative is on your sheet. This is sulfate. Make a comparison. I have 4 oxygens in the sulfate. 5 oxygens in this one. It's 1 more. So in order to name it, it's per. Sulfate.
I was 1, 3 whole letters off.
It makes a difference. Like I'm going to give you another warning. Get this down, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because we're going to be using this to base one of the next naming rules off of.
And now for this brief
If
intermission.
it had like a 6 or 7, it would be like,
Nope. This is it.
Wait, hold on. S-O.
Alright, here we go. Let's put y'all to the test.
love that.
Name this one. Chemical formula of this one.
I think. Oh, snap.
I know CO2 2 negative's not on there. That's what I'm saying.
I got it. Not have to tell me anymore.
It's carbon monoxide. Alpha carbon monoxide.
Alright, so let's look at the first one here. CO2 2 negative.
Digital Learning Center, Hallie Franklin.
So going to the CO2 2 negative, when you go there, what's the root?
Carbon.
carbonate, which is CO3, to negative. Make the comparison between the two. You've got one less oxygen.
ITE.
Carbonate.
I tried to say that, but I said.
So it's carbonate.
It's carbonate.
I got that right.
And this is to prove to you how tricky this nomenclature stuff can be. Carbon monoxide. Is this a polyatomic?
No.
No. It's using prefixes, which means it's a covalent bond.
I just wrote CO.
I'm running off.
I'm so proud.
That's it. It's CO.
Would we have gotten in trouble, like, or used it if we wrote CO, or would we have had to put it in? Like, knowing not a polyatomic.
You can name that. You can give me a chemical formula of that. You have to give me the CO. Nowhere on your quiz will I be looking for an N/A. Because if you give me an N/A, I'm going to give you an X next to it.
Oh, that's dirty.
Okay. This is where life becomes interesting. You're not finished with these yet. There's something special about polyatomics.
We're about to get a special grade.
Sorry. That option left the building the first week of school.
So you're forcing
I'll
them
give
into
you
the
a special
relationship?
Chris, $20 bill if you let me get an A, and it's like, hey, look, there's Mikey.
A crisp $20 bill.
Mikey's missing chemistry.
I'll even add in a
Yeah, I'll just go take
Yep.
pictures.
Alright, so in this Oxyanion nomenclature also branches farther out. You also don't only have the Oxyanion nomenclature, you also have one we're going to go back to and add more stuff to.
Don't you say moles.
Ionic bond.
Ionic nomenclature.
Oh.
Ionic bonds. Moles comes later. We're close.
Get out of here.
By March, we'll be dealing with moles again.
Moles and low structures are the worst things you can ever put on us. I hate moles.
Yeah.
Moles are awful.
Alright, so on this ionic nomenclature, you guys have been used to this in doing these ionics with diatomics. Whenever you did that, we base it all off naming by the monatomics. This is the thing. Life has changed now. What's special about polyatomics? Let's go back to what a polyatomic is.
Nobody studied them. That's what's special about
What are polyatomic ions?
big numbers with crazy letters.
I'm going to help y'all out because apparently
Test
Yeah.
Wednesday.
they are covalently bonded molecules that have ionic characteristics. So what type of bonds are within polyatomics?
Cations?
Very good.
Good job.
Right, right.
Covalently bonded.
I thought I was right.
We all did.
So within these, they're covalently bonded, but they have characteristics of ions, which gives it a special ability. It can form ionic bonds with other ions. For example, you don't see it, but it's there. There are charges in this example. CaCO3. Here's the dead giveaway. I'm literally giving you the dead giveaway right now.
Are we going to have to switch it? Like, are you going to have to take that 3 and put up there with the CAs and take the 1?
No. This plays by a different set of rules.
Oh, no.
You see why nomenclature is hard?
Let's figure out my rule book.
Dead giveaway.
'Cause
Here.
we don't know what to do.
Your sign.
Okay,
Here is your sign.
It takes us about a good 4 or 5 red flags to catch them.
How many elements are present?
3.
4.
Wait.
3.
80.
Wait.
No, I'm going on 4 and 5 answers.
In this case, how many elements?
Elements.
3.
Go see.
Calcium, carbon, oxygen. You have these 3 present. Everything you've learned so far has been based off of diatomics. It's been based off of 2 elements bonded together to make something. Now within this,
Oh,
you've
okay.
changed it. When you have 3 here, when there's 3, look for polyatomic.
Is that because CA is 1, C is 1, and then O is 1? Right?
Yeah.
So you got it for 3.
Ca is 1, C is 1, O is 1.
Okay.
Calcium, carbon, oxygen.
Thank you.
All right, so in this, here's a question. It's a really good question. What type of bonds are within this? You mumble through it. We got ionic. Okay, so we have ionic. Why do you say ionic?
Because that's what we're doing.
Okay, it's what we're doing, but what?
Here's your sign.
Carbon, oxygen.
Calcium is a metal.
Right.
It comes from the second column. Has a fixed charge of 2+. You don't see this right now because it's hidden, but there's a charge here. CO3.
Oh, no.
There's a 2+ there. It's a 1-to-1 ratio here, so there's a 2 negative charge here, which tells us something. What polyatomic ion is that? Carbonate, thank you. So you're dealing with carbonate, which has a charge. So the charge is making the bond. So ionic because
Mr. Hall, hold us so.
electrostatic attraction between
Where's Christy? It's over here.
the cation, take pictures, and the polyatomic.
Finally, we have a cat out.
Ions.
She been crossing all them people up.
I actually shouldn't have said that. I should say cation or anion. Cation. I gotta make it right. All right, is that the only type of bond that's within this? No. There's covalent bonds within it. Why is there covalent bonds within this? Because the carbon and the oxygen go back to what polyatomics are. Covalently bonded molecules that have ionic characteristics. So, covalent because the polyatomic ion is formed from covalent bonds. So here's the thing. Everything changes, kind of, slightly. Not majorly, but it adds a little bit of confusion to the matrix. Over here, what would we name that? Here's literally what you do. Find the polyatomic ion within it. So you've already located it. The CO3 2 negative. We know it's got a 2 negative charge because it's bonded with calcium, and calcium has a 2 positive charge. So in this, we know that the end of this is carbonate. You follow the rules you've learned for ionic bonds for those ions. So in this case, the monatomic ions. So in this case, calcium. Ca2+, so it's just calcium. Then name the polyatomic ion. Calcium carbonate. See, this is the key, is with ionic bonds, you don't have to tell me how many are there because I know the charges, so I can go backwards and figure out how many are there. So with this, it has now opened our world up so much more. So within this, we can do all sorts of different little doodads and things. So things can get very complex, like, wake up.
No.
Lithium.
I give up.
Name that one.
Lithium,
Sulfide.
so,
So,
yeah, she's right.
I'm definitely not, because he's making that face he always does. Whenever he's back go,
There's no
Wrong.
polyatomic on it, but unless I'm looking at the wrong spot.
Okay.
I think it's lithium sulfate oxide.
You will not name anything like that.
Trihydral.
Alright, look. Find the polyatomic. Where's the polyatomic?
On the board.
Where at in here, Hannah?
In the middle.
In the middle.
Sulfur?
No. Other middle. The other middle.
The polyatomic is.
Wait.
It would be S.
Li2S.
Would it be sulfate or sulfite?
It's SO for sure.
SO2 is the polyatomic.
Go.
Work backwards. Find the charge on it. Okay? What's the charge on lithium?
2 negative.
Positive 1 plus. 1 plus.
1 plus because it comes from the first column. So it's plus 1. So we got a plus 1 multiplied by how many of those lithiums there are.
2.
So plus 1 times 2 is plus 2.
Wow.
Now you got the plus 2. Remember how we did it with those stock systems.
Oh, not again.
So whenever we did this, you take this,
Say you're ready to the office.
and the charge overall for the other part has to be that same number but opposite sign, so negative 2. How many of these polyatomics are there? Be
Go.
careful. The 2 goes for the oxygen.
3. Wild guess.
1.
So negative 2 minus divided by 1 is negative 2, so the charge on that's 2 negative.
That's 30.
Okay, so you found
Sulfide.
your polyatomic.
Lithium sulfide.
So let's look at it. Lithium, we'll start naming it.
Sulfide.
Now this is the thing, we have to understand what it's going to be. Remember what I said, go back to the root. You've all noticed it's SO, so you automatically want to jump for sulfate, which is SO4 2 negative. Now follow the rules that we just went through and went over. Make a comparison. Think. There's 4 oxygens here. That's the root. There's 2 oxygens there. There's 2 fewer oxygens over here than what's up there, which means hypo, root salt, then adite.
Mr. Paul, you got me in a pickle back here.
Lithium hyposulfite.
You're speaking Spanish.
That's ridiculous.
I'm French.
That's right.
Will we have to do this again tomorrow? Like have a practice sheet?
We absolutely will do this tomorrow, but we're going to add another naming rule along with it.
Oh, God.
Yay!
We will do the next practice sheet when we get all of the naming rules.
I'm so glad I'm clean.
You know what was easy? What we just done last week.
I warned you, don't let this trick you. The first 3 that you learn is easy. So, I don't know why everybody's putting their stuff up. We still got 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So within this, if I wanted to go to something like
Ammonia. No,
Oh, I remember ammonia. It's like Effie something, right?
Wait.
ammonium sulfide.
I got FENA for ammonia.
No. By the way, don't get caught up on the fact that you have the video. There's something that's been said within research
That's a sickness.
that if you try to replace this class and you being involved in it, that's why your grades are going to be low. Because all the research that's been done has shown that what I'm doing right now is not a replacement for being inside this classroom. It's a support tool to help you study.
Huh?
I heard the comment
What comment?
that we'll have the video. Don't let this replace the fact you're in the class. What's ammonia?
Sickness. No, oh, that's pneumonia. Wrong one.
Page 4 plus. Leave it to Adam to throw in that little spark of humor to get the class back on track. I love it. Sulfide. Charge. Comes from sulfur. What's the charge?
Sulfur. Where's it at?
The 2 negative.
2 minus. This is the thing, and this is why I wanted to do this one. You're going to do this the same way we've always done. Cross these numbers over, but here's the thing. This 2 comes down here for this ammonium. But that's ammonium. It's for the whole polyatomic. You have to put it in parentheses and put the 2 around it. That 1 comes over for the sulfide, so S. So NH4, in parentheses, 2S.
Wouldn't it be
Now in this, when you're going to see this, understand, because this is preferencing something that's going to come up later. How many nitrogens are in this?
C. No, 4.
There's 2.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's like you're distributing this throughout. How many hydrogens? 8. How many sulfurs?
It's like in math, like when you square.
1. That number goes through here and multiplies throughout.
It's like math.
I will see you tomorrow. We will continue this. It'll be a great day.